guys, so today we have one big story and a few little stories if I can fit them in somewhere. If not, then I'll see you in my next one. Don't go anywhere. After this one, I'll see you in the next one. Instagram, Twitter, follow me on there. I changed my handles on my Instagram and Twitter so that it correlates more with my channel because everything was so different, and then someone told me that that's a bad business move, so I guess that's a bad business move. So I've now changed them, and then I have to go through all my descriptions where I have my Instagram and Twitter, and I have to change those links because the links now don't work. Didn't think that through, but anyway, second channel. We are literally, like, as you're watching this, maybe 1k away from 100k if we haven't hit it already. So we're gonna have a second 100k plaque, which I think is incredible. The videos on there are super fun to film for me, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys went over and, you know, give them a watch. All of that in the description, and let's get into it. So recently I filmed a video about Colleen Ballinger, who is the woman behind Miranda Sings. Now Miranda Sings was supposed to be this almost parody account of people and like idiots in the world. I guess what Miranda Sings was supposed to be is show idiots that they are idiots by basically being them on the internet and showing them how stupid they look to other people. So she would make weird, like, I remember the first time I found her, I didn't realize she was a parody account. I should have probably guessed by the lipstick, but it didn't click in my brain, where she was talking about how Halloween is bad because it's the Satan's day, and I was like, oh my god, who is this religious freak? So it just goes to show she was supposed to just be this parody of like everything stupid on the internet. So yeah, she did make some questionable content, but I think in the context of what Miranda Sings was, that was acceptable. Now there are some things now that Colleen has done, not as Miranda but just as herself, that aren't acceptable, because then at that point it's not a parody anymore. Do you see where I'm going with this? My roots are, can we call this an ombre now? They're not roots, they're an ombre. This is intentional. It's not like I haven't been to the hairdressers in like 5 months. We haven't even been in quarantine for 5 months, so that just goes to show how much I care about getting my roots done. So we have a new situation, but let's backtrack a little bit. Recently, a guy called McIntyre, who is a 17-year-old, uploaded a sort of expose video on Miranda Sings and Colleen Ballinger, mainly Colleen Ballinger in that case, where he goes over the fact that she befriended him when he was about 12 to 13 years old. She sent him lingerie that he apparently asked for, but we'll get into that. She sent him lingerie as kind of like a merchandise thing. She spoke to him in private messages, told him about her divorce, the ins and outs of the divorce between two people that he idolized at the age of 13, 14 and 15 and so on and so forth. And I did film a video on this, but I just want to say my stupidity got ahead of me, and my maths in that video is, what did I say? There was like this really stupid moment that I could have just easily done the maths in my head. I was basically just getting the ages and the years wrong. So I was like, oh, in 2012 he was like 12 when he's 17 now. It was idiotic of me. Anyway, watch that video with a grain of salt, as in the sense of like, don't focus on my maths, focus on the ages. I don't know why I put the years in there, as if that wasn't too complicated for me. I'm not a mathsy person. Let's just, you know, let's just be nice. I never claimed to be a genius. But anyway, ignore the years that all of this happened. The main point is this all happened between the ages of 12 and 17 for him, right? That's all we need to know. Now let's just do the maths in our heads for that, what years that those were in, if he's 17 now, whatever, you know, I don't care. I got very off track there. So he received this lingerie when he was about 13, 14, and apparently he was asking for it for a month. I hate the phrase asking for it because it brings back a lot of like shaming. Like it's usually used to shame people in similar situations or worse situations. I think anyone that's like, oh, well, he was asking to receive all this lingerie. Yes, he was a child that was now talking to his idol, like someone that he idolized for years. Of course he was going to ask for it because it was going to be the only thing that he would have to like prove that this friendship is real, you know? You can't blame a 14-year-old for speaking to an adult. I don't know why there's this like rhetoric of, well, he wanted to talk to her and he wanted to listen to things about her divorce. Yes, because he had this friendship with someone that he idolized. If that was me, right, when I was 12, 13, I was the hugest fan of Zoella. We know how that went. So if she had messaged me and started giving me dirt on her relationship with Alfie Days, I'd be eating that up, because all I would want is attention from the person that I idolized. But that doesn't make it right for her to do that, right? Do you know what I mean? Just because I was asking for it. Like, what if a child asks you, oh, can I like jump into fire? You're gonna say, yeah, go for it, because you're asking for it. Anyway, so he does this expose where she's basically telling him private information about her divorce and her relationship, the ins and outs. And then she starts telling him about how Miranda Sings as a character is kind of failing now, because in the new age of things, people are too sensitive for the kind of content that Miranda Sings does, aka parodies of idiots on the internet. And I think some people, if they don't know who Miranda Sings is, or like the history behind Miranda Sings, they will just see it as someone being problematic on the internet, which I can completely understand. It's like, I didn't know. Main example, me, when I was like 13, I found it and I was like, who is this and why is she saying all of this? Because I didn't realize that it was a parody account. So anyway, Miranda Sings is kind of going down. Colleen's kind of, you know, her channel's doing fine. She's got like this family channel with her child and her friends, and it's, you know, good shit, I guess. I don't watch it, so, you know, you tell me if it's good shit. And she's telling him all of this, and he's sending her memes that he would usually post on his stan account of Colleen. So he's like, oh, you know, post this. And when Animal Crossing came out, he would give her a lot of like Animal Crossing related memes to post that would get a lot of likes, because Animal Crossing was, you know, the it thing, and it still is, by the way, and it will always be the it thing. And she starts posting all of these things, and she at some point actually asks him to meet up for lunch when she went to Dublin, and because he's from Dublin. But his mom was very like iffy at this point, because she saw these conversations between this child and an adult, and the content of these conversations, and she felt uncomfortable. But obviously as a parent, you want your kid to be happy, and he was clearly happy talking to the one person he idolized. So she was like, fine, you can talk, but she kept a close eye on these conversations. So when Colleen offered him lunch, the mum actually stayed outside of the cafe or the restaurant they went to and kind of kept an eye on things just in case, because you know, you never know with these things. I mean, we've seen so many stories of fans meeting their idols or having interactions with their idols that then went very wrong. There was a guy called Austin who actually ended up in jail because of his conversations with his fans. So, you know, it's not so out of the blue to be like, oh yeah, I just want to keep an eye on my kid and what they're doing on the internet. That's kind of the basis of things. She then offers him a kind of internship type thing where she says, you know, for this one day, we're going to just try this out. And if it works out, I want you to be kind of the like manager of my social media. She gave him full access to her Twitter account for a full day, and he was bringing up her interactions a lot. He even sent her stats and said like, look, your interactions are up, everyone's loving this. But he posted that coming out bait thing about her being a fan of Meghan Trainor. That was his idea, and she was like, oh, I'm panicking, why would you post this? Basically just paraphrasing, why would you post this? You know, this is, I'm very scared, I would never queerbait, which that's false, because she's actually queerbaited on multiple occasions on her channel before. So I don't know why she would say that she's like, I always take these matters so seriously, I don't know why you would do this, I would never queerbait, when she has. I don't know why I gave her a British accent, that's not accurate. Yeah, so she was slowly but surely going from, oh my god, this is amazing, you're bringing up my interactions so much, to why would you do this? I'm getting so much hate. And he was basically just telling her what any PR person would tell you. And he's super smart for a 17-year-old. He was basically just saying, most of the time, 99% of the time, drama on Twitter stays on Twitter. It usually will not find you on your YouTube channel. It'll be like the individual people that are like insane that will go from your Twitter to your Instagram to your YouTube, find you on Facebook and on LinkedIn to leave hate comments. But most people will leave it on Twitter. They will like a tweet and they will go on with their day, and they will forget it by the next day, if not the next hour. So he just said, you know, just let it, you know, boil over. It's fine. It's like, you know, there's no point of like taking down these tweets because that makes you look more guilty. Just kind of go along with it, you know? And he was like, and that's what Miranda is. Isn't Miranda supposed to be this like almost controversial figure that basically just riles up people, and that's how you get attention? Like, that's always what I thought of Miranda, was post something super controversial and let people either laugh along because they know the inside joke, or not because they don't realize that Miranda is a parody. And that's kind of how she got her attention. It was either her fans knowing that this is a parody, or people that don't know her not knowing it's a parody and thinking this is serious and then giving her more attention. I thought that was like the whole point of Miranda Sings. Anyway, so that was the tea. She then obviously didn't offer him the intern position, and actually her friend Corey was then talking in private DMs, basically talking about Adam. And then apparently Colleen was also talking in private messages with other YouTubers and other people. That's like the general consensus, and she hasn't addressed this publicly at all. And people are saying, you know, if you're going around telling people this like evidence that you have that Adam is lying, why not just post it publicly and have it over and done with? But hear me out, cancel culture is not real. Let me just put this out there now. What YouTubers have now started doing, and I think it's smart most of the time, unless you're actually in the wrong. Like, if you're not in the wrong, ignoring hate is probably the best thing you can do for one, your mental sanity, and two, just your channel overall. If you ignore stuff, people get bored, and if they don't get bored, then they're the insane ones. But if you are actually in the wrong, you should technically address it, just so you can say either like sorry or not sorry, whatever you want to say. So other than her just not addressing the situation, there's also other YouTubers are now coming in and kind of defending her. So it's pretty clear that she's probably going around and telling people what the situation is behind the scenes, or because she hasn't addressed it, they think she's in the right and not in the wrong. So what happened was, she tweeted out saying, oh my god, I just thought about how when the quarantine is over, I'll eventually start doing live shows again. Then I started thinking about how I'll get to do meet and greets, and legit started crying. I miss you guys so much. And someone replied to that saying, you can't ignore the situation forever. If you don't address it, it will get worse. And actually James Charles replied to this, and hear me out, I am very torn on this situation, because I can't believe I'll say this, because for the last year I've been saying something completely different, but growth. I actually really like James Charles right now. I think he's doing what he's supposed to be doing as an influencer. He's making the most of his career. He's the biggest beauty guru there is now, but he hasn't been in a scandal in a while, or at least as far as I'm concerned, based on my morals and beliefs, he hasn't been in the scandal. To other people, that might be wrong, but whatever. So the fact that he inserted himself into this drama, I'm kind of disappointed because I just wish that James Charles wouldn't. Like, it's kind of what I said before, if you don't address it, things go away. This wasn't any of his business, and frankly, even if they are friends behind the scenes, no need. Let's not address other people's drama. Let's not do that, because if they're not addressing it, they don't care enough, and you shouldn't be addressing it either, because, you know, if they actually cared, they would be addressing it, so you shouldn't really be doing the work for them. James, you're not their PR team, whoever it is that you're defending. And as much as, like, that sucks because you want to defend your friend, if you guys are friends behind the scenes, that's fine. You want to defend your friend, but this tends to not look good on you, and the drama channels have more reason to talk about you. But also, if you then come up in like another scandal, then your name's just constantly in people's mouths. I think let's just, you know, let's leave the replying to people to a minimum right now, James, please. I just don't want to see another scandal. So he replies to that saying, it's literally all lies, which that sounds very like he's sure of what he's saying. So to me, that means that he must have heard something through the grapevine, but then he claims that he hasn't later on. So it seems like he hasn't spoken to Colleen, but he's sure that she wouldn't ever do what Adam is accusing her of, which is fine. So he says, the boy begged Colleen for the panties for years. Now that's the one part I'm gonna disagree with. Just because a child is asking you to do something doesn't mean you do it, because you're the adult in that situation. It's like, my parents never let me do all the things that I wanted to do because I was the child and they were the adults. And just because the child is asking continuously to do something doesn't mean you let them do it. And as an adult, you have more of the mindset of like, this is inappropriate, I shouldn't be encouraging this. So if he was asking for underwear, as an adult, you should be like, no. But she was the one that offered it in the first place. That's the point that I'm zoning in on, is he wasn't the one that asked for the underwear. He wasn't like, hey, you know the bralette that Corey is wearing, can I have it? She was like, hey, do you want this bralette? As far as I'm concerned, that's what happened. She asked if he wants the bralette, and then he kept on asking for it and reminding her to send it to him until she did. That's what the story is so far. Allegedly, that's what he's saying. So he then says he ran her Twitter for one day and she never ghosted him either. In fact, he tried to bring Flynn into the argument. Sure, his story doesn't look the best, but he's looking for attention since Colleen won't give it to him anymore, and you guys are feeding it instead. Even if she did address it, people would say she's attacking a minor. Let her take care of her family and son during this pandemic and worry about something else, please. I'm tired of seeing my friends dragged over lies. Hear me out. This all sounds like he knows like the ins and outs of things, and if they are friends behind the scenes, then that makes complete sense that he would be in the know about what's happening behind the scenes. But I think there is a difference between attacking a minor on the internet, the way he said it's like, there is a difference between attacking a minor on the internet and just addressing things. She could literally just put out a tweet saying, me and Adam are sorting this out behind the scenes, and she could just DM him. And that would be enough for me personally. I don't know about other people, but that would be enough for me if she just said, I'm addressing this behind the scenes, because I don't think they need to be doing this publicly. I really don't. And she did kind of ghost him. As far as we're concerned from what Adam said, and because Colleen hasn't provided any evidence otherwise, then I'm just gonna have to stick with what Adam has said because he's the only one providing evidence right now. She did ghost him because he did message her last, and therefore that's a ghost. Anyway, then someone says, I guess the biggest thing I have a problem with is the excuse he asked for the underwear. In that moment, Colleen was an adult and shouldn't have responded by sending them. If the kid asks to drive your car, it is your job as the adult to say no and make the grown-up decision, which I completely agree with. And then James says, sure, this is fair. It's not like they were used dirty underwear. They were brand new with the tag on. He begged for them for months straight, was excited to get them, and the Miranda character is obviously weird. Smart choice, probably not. Child groomer? Absolutely not. I don't think she's a child groomer. If anyone is saying that, I don't think she's a child groomer. That's so like far past the line that we are drawing here. What we're saying is it's inappropriate for an adult to have that kind of a close connection with a child and tell them ins and outs of their divorce and ins and outs of things that a child probably shouldn't be hearing about. So I think that's where I'm drawing the line of like, this is inappropriate more than she's a child groomer, because I don't think that's where I'm going with this. But if someone's going that far with it, sure, let's call it out. So I don't think she's a child groomer, but at the same time, I also don't think this is appropriate. So I think, you know, this is like grey zone. Like, she's not completely like an awful human being, but she's also not innocent. I think she's in that like grey zone that you don't really know what to do with. But it only got worse from there. I didn't think it could, but it did. So this one lovely night, I'm just chilling, you know, talking to people in DMs, just having fun, doing whatever I'm doing, liking tweets. And all of a sudden, I am seeing a flood of DMs from people that watch my videos, sending me old clips of Colleen as Colleen and Colleen as Miranda doing really problematic things. Now, like I said, when she's Miranda, it's a bit different, and I'm kind of torn on the clips that I saw of her as Miranda. But then there's clips where you're not really sure if she's playing Miranda or if she's playing herself, and then there's clips where she's clearly herself. So it's very difficult to draw the line between Colleen and Miranda, because sometimes you kind of like, who is this? Who is this? Because it's not so obvious in some of those clips, and they're very old and poor quality. So I'm like, is that the lipstick, or is that just bad makeup, or just bad lighting? I don't know. So is it Miranda or is it Colleen? Anyway, we're gonna gonna start with the clip that's actually Colleen, and it's the first clip that I saw. Colleen and her friend Corey filming a video where she speaks about how as a child, when she was about 3 to 4 years old, she had huge anger issues, which her parents probably should have addressed before this happened. And her dog was like playing with her, and she grabbed him, and she was really angry about something. She grabbed him and she dug her nails into his skin, and he bit her on the face, which is a normal reaction. If a child dug their finger, well, not a child, I'm not gonna beat up a child, but if someone grabbed me by the skin and dug their nails into my skin, I would probably, well, not bite them because I'm not crazy, but I would probably, you know, do whatever it is that I need to do to get them off me. And the dog only has the teeth to protect themselves, so the dog bit her. And then they went to the hospital. She has a scar on her face or whatever, and they asked her what happened, and she said that the dog attacked her and she doesn't know why, when she did know why. And they put the dog down because of that, because it was deemed aggressive.
How I got this scar was I was playing in the backyard as a little girl. I think I was like 3 or 4. I have like temper tantrums still to this day, and I have like anger management problems. I used to like actually like rip things up or get angry. So I grabbed my dog for no reason, just grabbed the dog and pinched its skin and dug my nails into it. The dog yelps, turns around to protect itself, and bites me in the face. And then they had to put the dog to sleep because the dog was dangerous to be around. So I murdered a dog.
Which that happens more than you'd like to know with dogs, just as a side piece. A lot of people will provoke dogs, and when the dog bites back, they are shocked and bamboozled as to why this dog bit them when they were the ones that were provoking it, and then they put the dog down instead of just learning how to be a good dog owner. Anyway, that's besides the point. She was a child at the time, and that's kind of like, I'm not blaming her for the situation because she was a child. Her parents should have addressed her anger issues, and they should have probably known that she had anger issues, so they should have like looked more into this situation and not just trusted what she said. But she then tells this story on YouTube as an adult and laughs about it, and then calls herself a dog murderer. I would be embarrassed to tell that story. Like, if I was you, that story would not see the light of day. I would literally just not talk about it ever, because it doesn't make you look good. The fact that you're not like remorseful as an adult for what you did to this poor dog blows my mind. But then it gets worse. Her and her friend are walking around, and this friend of hers lost their cat, and they're looking for this cat, and they see a kitten. Well, it looked pretty small, so I'm assuming it was a kitten, and the kitten was basically flattened out with the concrete, which whenever I see stuff like you know, it's like a bird or something on the road, I get like weird goosebumps. It just, I can't, sorry, it just makes me feel gross. I'm so uncomfortable. And they're laughing about it and like zooming in close and like putting the camera on, well, not zooming in, but like putting the camera on the cat, and they're like pointing out bits of him that are like squished, and they're laughing about it. And that video is still up, and probably is still up on her channel, and it's monetized, and you know, all that good stuff that you do on your channel. So that's another thing. And they're like, oh, I guess we found the cat that you've been looking for. And it was just such a weird thing. They were just laughing about this cat that was like flattened out with the concrete. Anyway, then her and her sister make this whole bit, and I'm not sure, right, this is the one video I'm not sure if it's Colleen or if it's Miranda, but it could be Miranda, but then it also just doesn't make it any better. And that's why I'm a little bit iffy on this whole Miranda character, because it's like, is this really a parody, or is this what you think that you're hiding behind a parody? Because then you can almost excuse you saying it. Like, is Miranda just an excuse to say really controversial things with no repercussions, or is it actually poking fun at the people? Because then the thing is, hear me out, like if this was really supposed to be a show the idiots how idiotic they look on the internet, wouldn't there be some kind of a like discussion around it? I think just putting controversial things out there and saying, oh, this is for awareness, doesn't really bring awareness to it, because most people don't know that you're a parody account. So I think there should be some kind of more of a do this controversial thing, but then kind of start some form of a discussion around the controversial thing you did, which is why I'm so iffy about this Miranda character. And I think that's exactly why it doesn't work nowadays, because you're not starting a discussion, you're not really doing anything other than saying controversial things and then calling it a parody. I'm not really too like aware of the Miranda Colleen situation because I don't watch the channels. So if people want to explain to me kind of like why the Miranda character is as liked as it is, then let's do that. Let's start a conversation as to why this Miranda character is so big and why people really enjoyed it, but I just don't see the appeal. She and her sister make this song making fun of Mexicans, basically saying things along the lines of like, this is how you get over the border. They talk about a boyfriend with a restraining order called Carlos. They sing like a Del Taco song in the background because obviously, you know, Mexicans tacos, I guess that was like a very creative and original joke to make. They have the like overly done makeup to like poke fun at, I guess, Mexicans, and they have like hoops, and I don't know, it was just a lot in that video that I was like, what is happening? Why was this a thing? And what discussion is this supposed to start? I don't know. So there's that, which is obviously racism, unless she's going to claim that this was supposed to be a parody poking fun at racists, but then that wasn't really said. So if anyone's just looking at this clip on its own, it just doesn't look good.
I crossed the border, I went to Borders, and then I read a book on how to make my look. That's why I'm so hot and you are not. Del Taco. She works at the drive-thru at Del Taco. You know how the guys go loco.
Then there are a lot of instances of her making fun of Jews. There's that clip where she's curling her hair and she goes, oh, I'm gonna have to split these curls out because I look like a Jew and that's really ugly.
This looks like a Jewish curl by my face, so I will split it up so it doesn't look like one like really thick curl because that's really ugly.
Hear me out. The comment about the Jew itself probably doesn't work in 2020. It's not what you say. But if she had just said, oh, this looks like one of those Jewish curls, that would have been slightly more okay. But then she goes on to say that it's ugly, which then insinuates that Jews with the curls are ugly. So that's a whole other level to this whole thing. And that was Colleen, not Miranda. That was Colleen. And then she also made fun of Jews because she was saying that she's going to an audition in a tweet and she was like, I'm going to be playing a fat Jewish girl or something, and it was just unnecessary. And then she made fun of indigenous people, but because she was doing this bit. So Miranda does this whole thing about how Thanksgiving came to be. So she does this whole like Columbus came over and they're signing the papers, the documents, they're signing the thing to make America a thing, and then boom, Thanksgiving, we have a turkey, let's eat one. That would all be good and well, but then she plays the bit that she has this indigenous person who is her pet. And then they talk about how, oh, let's have Thanksgiving. I just caught a turkey. We can eat that and call it Thanksgiving. And you can give the scraps to your pet, the indigenous person.
Okay, so since Thanksgiving is this week, I figure I'll tell you guys the story of Thanksgiving. So I wrote and directed this myself. I hope you like it. Oh, I am a lost little pilgrim. Ho, 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 I'm Christopher Columbus. I have found this land of America. This is my pet, Squanto. Happy 4th of July. Let's sign this paper. It's called a constitution. Ay, Chichin. Yo quiero Taco Bell. Shh. Don't speak, Squanto. I'm hungry. Good news. I caught a turkey, so we're gonna eat it together and call it Thanksgiving. You can give the scraps to Squanto.
What discussion is this starting? I'm so sorry. Who is this a parody of? And what discussion is this starting? I'm not sure if Miranda was just supposed to be a throw controversial stuff out there and see what sticks and see what makes people laugh. I don't know. I'm so confused about the Miranda bit. And then she made a video, there's another tweet. This is all from the Twitter account called Dark Ballet 20, who compiled all of the stuff, where they say Colleen literally made a video for children about different cuddling positions, and then there is a position called the uncle and feeding time, as well as 69. Then they say fans claiming this was years ago, stop exposing her. Listen, the majority of these videos are still up and monetized. They have been up and are still making her money. Search of the internet shows she has been facing criticism for these videos before, and they are still up. Yeah, that's the thing. When I looked up Colleen Ballinger, there were videos from like a year ago talking about her hate on indigenous people and her hate on Mexicans. So this has been an ongoing conversation that she has ignored over the years, and the videos are still up. Like, if that was me being Colleen right now and she really just didn't want to address these things, she should have taken them down the moment she was being called out for them, which was about a year ago. I don't know why she hasn't. Honestly, I have no excuse for why she hasn't taken these videos down, because any smart person would just be like, oh, this needs to come off the internet. Oh, so there was another tweet that said, I don't like clueless people. No large Mexican man. I do not want to talk to you while I'm tanning. I'm ignoring you. That means go away. I think she could have just left out the Mexican thing. She could have just said, no man, I do not want to talk to you. I think when people like add races in there, it just kind of doesn't make me feel good, because like, what's the race got to do with this whole tweet? Is it just Mexican men that annoy you, or is it just men in general that don't know personal space? And then her sister Rachel tweeted out saying, come to Walmart with me, I promise to not get in a fight with a big black lady again, which there's this stereotype of black women being aggressive and starting fights with people, and they're always the ones that are like aggressive and the aggressors in a fight. So this just perpetuates that whole stereotype that she's gonna only argue with a black woman because only black women argue, apparently. Have you not seen all the Karens? Have you not seen them? And then I saw another tweet that said, if you guys are cancelling Colleen Ballinger for her old jokes but still support Shane Dawson despite his old jokes, explain please. You really allow mediocre clear people to be great for nothing. So people are now calling out also Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star because they both have a more problematic past, if you can call it that. So basically Jeffree Star has obviously all of his stuff on MySpace, and Shane Dawson has had instances of blackface before, which both those things technically have been addressed, but people are saying like, if you're cancelling Colleen right now but you're still letting other people prosper on the platform that have also had controversial jokes in past, there seems to be a problem there. I also think, you know, hold everyone accountable to the same degree, or don't hold everyone accountable to the same degree. Do whatever you want, but don't make it a biased thing. Just because you like one creator over another creator doesn't mean you forgive one more than the other. Do you know what I mean? Like, but the only difference here is, as much as I don't like Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson have technically both addressed their past. she still hasn't, but this has literally come out like a day ago, so let's give her a chance to address it, and I want to see what she says. But if she does address it and then you cancel her but don't cancel other people, there is a slight problem. But yeah, anyway, there is a bigger conversation to have here as to how some people get away with things that other people don't get away with, maybe. Like some people can make controversial jokes and other people can't because they get cancelled for it, and these people almost get praised for making controversial jokes. I don't know, there's a bigger conversation here that I'm clearly pointing you guys in the direction of. And that's the Colleen situation. We didn't have time for more little stories, so I guess I'll see you in my next one for those. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything, comment down below, and subscribe because I post videos every time something happens. So subscribe and hit that bell and you'll be notified when that's happening. Social media links and second channel in the description, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.